Hello, hello, hello. I promised to be back. So, yes, I am back. We watched that video with David E. Taylor, and it's crazy, 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 crazy. And I'm hoping that people who call themselves Christians will start to wake up and smell the coffee. I mean, at what point do you start to realize that you're being scammed, you're being fooled by these people? So yes, I'm going to put the link in the chat and like to have a conversation. I see you guys. I see Mikayla. I see Greg. Please feel free. I think we can only have 6 people. So yes, why not? That's the link there if you would like to join me in the conversation. Mikayla, come on, let's have a chat. Greg, if you'd like to join in, please feel free. Let us talk. Mm-mm-mm. In the meantime, you don't see the link? I've done. I put the link in there. Hang on, let's see. Um, I put the link. Oh yeah, that's Mikayla. I see you. Hey, Mikayla.
Miss Esther, Miss
Hello.
Thing,
Hello.
we just let's get into this thing. Let's just get into it.
Okay.
So, I'm going to start off by saying this: Christians, Abrahamic religions, people who follow them, are delusional.
Yikes.
They're delusional, and they have no sense of reality whatsoever.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Okay, let's just get into it.
Okay.
I'm like the idea that you have Christians who out here saying that they are being persecuted.
Mm-hmm.
Well, literally, me and my entire community have been persecuted our entire lives. And in some
Yes.
countries, it is legally to stone us to death
Mm-mm.
because your gender identity or sexual orientation, misogyny, homophobia, transphobia, biphobia is literally in the fabric of these Abrahamic religions to the point where they cannot even disconnect it. So I need people to stop it.
Mm-mm. It's terrible. It's terrible. They say you should respect their beliefs, respect Christianity, respect Jesus, and respect all these things. What do you say to that? Why should we respect?
I say, fuck that. I
Why
say,
why should we why should you respect a
why
religion
should I
that
respect a religion that has persecuted me my entire life? Why
exactly?
should I do that? Who I'm like,
Mm-mm.
that is not, and it really think that is really narcissistic. You use religion to abuse people, to oppress people, and then tell them to respect it because you should respect people's belief. That is really narcissistic.
It is. It is. When you how can you respect a religion that lies to people? How? How can you respect
This is
such
the
a
same
religion?
religion that says that people can walk on water and be resurrected from the dead. Why should we take this fucking seriously?
Why would you want to respect a religion that, says Jesus walked on water? He didn't walk on water.
It's not
Jesus
possible for
did not
humans to walk
walk
on
on
water because
water.
humans cannot survive in water.
No, that
That is
is
not.
not possible. That is not. You know what, Michaela, while you're
Then I'm
here,
like, remember, I'm like, even the story of Moses, I'm like, he turned water to blood. And sprinkles Eve
water
the
he
power of God,
turned
the
into
burning bush.
wine. Sorry, when you said that, I just remember that song. Water he turned into wine. Da 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 da
I know what
da
song you're
da
talking
da
about.
da da
But
da
don't
da
really think about it.
da.
We're in. And I
Love
want everybody in
is
the chat to really think about it. If someone told you that, that their friend was
Mm,
someone they
mm,
knew
mm,
was
mm,
resurrected
mm,
from the
mm.
dead, would you think they're insane or not? So
No,
why
you
should
would
we
think they're
take
insane.
Christianity this? You would literally think they're insane. You would
You
think they
would.
would need the help.
Mikayla, Mikayla, just 1 second. Hold on. There's a video, right? There's a video I saw the other day, and I would like us to let's listen to this lady.
All right.
This video is about. She says God gave her a vision about the mark of the beast, Mark
Oh,
six six
girl.
six. All these people come on YouTube, right? They got huge following.
Delusional.
360 something odd people have seen this video already, right? Let me.
Let me
Oh,
get into
Denver.
it.
Hey, wow! I got Denver. Hey, hey,
Number.
I've got Denver today. Wow,
It's
nice.
about damn time.
I know. I know. We've got Denver with us today. So while we're getting
Delusion.
Denver, let me share this video about this young lady who. What am I doing? What am I doing? Let me go here.
Girl,
1 second, guys. Let me.
I have to
Uh,
mentally prepare
she
myself for
has
this
got the mark
foolishness.
of the beast. God, God gave her a vision about the mark of the beast. You see. So let's hear this mark of the beast.
Another dream. This one is really important. This is very important. Please stay
Very
to the end of the
important.
video.
Okay.
It's really important. It's really powerful, and it's just as significant as the last God gave me a vision video that I did before. So if you haven't watched that video yet, go watch that one right after you're done with this one. But make sure you guys stay to the end of this video because I want you guys to get like the full interpretation of the dream. And
You know something? If God wants to speak to people, why God just say it? Say it to everybody. So everyone can hear it all at the same time. There wouldn't be any misinterpretations. There wouldn't be any, oh, we think God said this or we didn't think this. She says God gave her a dream.
Hey, can you hear me?
Ah, we can hear you. Yes. Hey, Denver. Nice to hear your voice. You still there? Denver, can you guys hear me? Or am I talking to myself? Denver, I could hear you. Can you guys hear me in the chat? Because I think I'm talking to myself. Denver, are you still there? Mikayla, are you there? You can hear me, Greg. Okay, fantastic. Okay, you know what? I'll carry on playing the video until I'm not sure what exactly is
just
going
the
on.
full revelation that God gave me,
So
and
she's
then
got
some
a
advice from
revelation
me
from God.
about the whole situation, like just knowledge on the whole situation because it is about the mark of the beast.
Oh no.
So yeah, I'm just gonna get straight into it this time. He gave me the dream a little while ago, but I like to wait a couple of days or even a week. A week was a little bit too long, but I like to wait a couple of days before making the video, just in case God wants to give me any
Another dream.
meanings about the dream, where if He just wants to speak to me through that time about that dream before I speak to His people. So here I am making the video. Let's just get straight.
So Christians will tell you that Christianity is a personal relationship with God. It's personal. So God shares dreams with you. God speaks to you. God comes to you and speaks. Now, the question is, how do we test? How do we test whether what you're saying is true or not, or you're just speaking hot air? Huh? God just picks anybody he likes and just give them dreams. Now she's had a dream and decides to wait 1 more week to see whether God will give her another dream that will interpret the first dream. This is ridiculous.
The
Just
dream
Ain't
just
that
started.
terrible.
ridiculous?
I was in this grass field. It was dark. It was nighttime. I was in this grass field with like a bunch of not that much, but like a group of other people, and it was just like people from elementary school, adults, like teenagers. It was just a different variety of people, and we were just walking the field,
Can you
and
guys
all of
hear
a
me?
sudden,
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you now. Can
Mm-hmm.
you
Then
can
gotta
you
be
hear
quiet.
us, Dimver? Dimver?
Denver.
Oh, atheist Mo, hello. Oh, you only hear the African humanists.
Yeah, there's a delay.
Sorry, what did you say? I didn't hear you. Denver? Oh, I'm
Denver
not.
is in the back channel saying he doesn't hear anything.
There's like a
Okay.
10-second delay on my end.
Hmm? Okay. You know what? Let me carry on playing this video. Let's see whether let's just hear what the lady has to say, and then we can.
Signs just started happening in the sky. I can't remember all the signs that happened, but it was about like 5 to 10 like crazy, like not normal things happening in the sky. Like I can remember it was like these lines of like red smoke, and it just like it started off small but it started growing in the sky.
Lines in the sky.
And
Okay.
just so much was happening in the sky. And then there were these boats, these ships that started like coming all
All
around
that
us in
sounds
the
like a
sky. These
scary
boats just in
dream.
the sky, a bunch of them just coming all
He
around
does,
us.
doesn't
And then
he?
they like settled, like they stopped. They were like small cruise ships, like yachts or something like that. And it was a
Okay.
bunch of them. So then like we were all just watching all this stuff happen. And then all of a sudden, I think people came out of the yachts, but I just remember them taking us somewhere. And then when we got into the place, God put in my spirit that this is our new home. So
God
I knew this was our
puts
new
in your
home.
spirit.
And there
Really?
was already so many people there. There
Huh?
was already a bunch of people there as
Mikayla,
if they
God
were
put it in
living
her
there now.
spirit.
And
Put it in her spirit.
I,
Yes.
yeah,
Oh,
there
The
was
same
this
way
lady. She was really
the same way God impregnated the ghost impregnated Mary, he put it in her, what is it? Her her womb.
as a child.
You can clearly see that this girl has been introduced to this religion at a very young, tender age. She
I know
hasn't
I
had
was.
she hasn't had the chance to develop, to see the world, to you know, and already seeing dreams. Have a look at how many people have viewed this video already. Have a look.
That is
368,000
crazy.
views. Let me show you. Let's have a look at the comments. It's the comments that usually gets me with all these videos. Oh shoot. She's got another video here that says how my parents found out I was pregnant at 14. Mikayla,
What?
this girl who's preaching to us about the mark of the beast was pregnant at 14. Oh my goodness. Let me go look in the chat, see what's happening. She was pregnant at 14. That's the thing. Why is it that Christians, they, they, they do things just like everybody else? What is different about you? What's special about you're 14, you're pregnant? It happens to everybody, not just Christians, not just. But when you take on Christianity, how does that make you different? Nothing changes. And that's why I keep asking the question. That's why I keep asking the
Very
question.
delusional.
That's why I keep.
You're, all it does is make you a delusional person with no critical thinking skills. That's all it does.
Oh, she saw yachts, Richard Madsen. The yachts are not literal, only a way to explain her spaceships. Being pregnant at 14 is irrelevant. A person could be
What?
totally inhumane person and yet no, being pregnant is not like I said, people get pregnant. Whether Christians, atheists, whether
People
whatever
get
religion,
pregnant,
they
but
do.
now children as young as 14 being pregnant is a whole other situation. But that's neither here nor there. It's the idea that we're dealing with people who are being told that myths and I'm like in fairy tales are in fact and are being basically brainwashed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's the issue. You're
when
brainwashing
when
children.
when you come and say to me, God spoke to me, God showed me this, and God showed me that, why can't your God tell you
And why
things
can't you show
what
me
not
that?
to do? Why didn't God tell you, oh, don't have sex, or let the man wear a condom at 14? You are not you're not physically able, no, not physically, but you're not ready, you're not mature enough to raise a child. Why don't God speak to these people and tell them to do these things? Why does God just selectively show
Which
them
is why I believe in
spaceships
I'm like in
and
safe
all
sex
these
being
things?
taught.
Teenage pregnancy
It
happens
happens more
for
religious than non-religious.
what was that comment? Hey, I saw that comment. Teenage pregnancy happens more for religious folks than non-religious, so because they don't believe in birth. Oh, sugar.
Hello.
See, this is the
Hello.
trouble. This is the trouble with religion. Hmm? Just go
Isn't
ye
it?
into the world and multiply.
And I'm
Just
like,
have
and then taking
sex.
away people's rights for abortions. Also,
Just have
remember that part.
sex. Just keep on having sex. Just, keep
Just have
popping them
sex.
out.
Just be unprotected. Just bust it down, bump and grind. Oh, they don't put Oh, they believe in abstinence. Well, here's the thing, boo. Abstinence is not realistic. We're
Mm-mm.
talking about teenagers who have a bunch of hormones going through their fucking body and are literally human beings. They are sexual beings. No matter how many times you put it, they are going to have sex.
Of course they would. Of course they would.
They're
But
going
but
to.
I think if you're going to say
It's
that
a
God,
human instinct.
you talk about Christianity being a personal relationship with God, then you have to we have to hold you at a higher standard than the average person, because you are speaking directly with God. God is the one who rules the world.
Right.
God is the one who created. He knows the beginning from the end. He should know when to tell you, keep your legs closed, or better still, wear a condom, or protect. Anyway, what am I to say? I can't I don't judge people. If you have a baby, it's your choice, your body, your choice, do you. But if you're claiming that you
No,
live
I judge the
by
fact that
God
they
standard.
don't believe in birth control. That I will judge. And talk about
Mm-mm,
abstinence. That deserves to be judged and damn shame.
mm-mm,
Because the idea that you are thinking that teenagers, it is not realistic. It is not.
mm.
It is literally.
It
We've already
isn't.
tried abstinence. It is clear. There's a clear high when you teach abstinence. There's higher teen pregnancies. This is a
No.
fact, which
Hey,
would
Richard
explain why
Madsen,
in
hello.
religious circles compared to non-religious circles why teen pregnancy is the issue.
Hmm. You
You're
know
not getting
what?
the facts that you need. You're a
Let
developing human being.
At 14. Well, let's carry on with this video. Let's hear
At
what this
14,
girl is
I mean,
calling.
at
Bullshit.
14,
14 are not
like I
pregnant.
said, I don't believe 14-year-olds should be having sex. But we
No.
also know, right, when we're talking about abstinence and stuff, 15, like we know that they're developing humans.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm like, there should be talks about
Still
safe
tender.
sex.
Mm-mm.
There should be talks about condoms and contraceptives. These are conversations you should be having with your 14.
Exactly. At 14, people are curious. Young girls, young boys, they're curious. They want to know my sexual parts, how does it work?
And they should be
You start
educated.
to discover, these things. So I would never say, oh, don't have sex at 14. That you would never hear me say that. Never, ever, ever. Because people are curious. People want to try things out. They want to, okay, oh, I feel these
But it's
feelings at
about being
night.
safe.
What are these feelings all about? They want to test these things, okay? But then when you're saying God is giving you visions, mark of the beast, I think that God should be giving you visions about not having babies at that age. What do you say to that?
Right. I think that should be the idea that you believe that there are 14-year-olds. Let's be clear. When I was 14, I had to develop very early because I was going through
Mm,
situations. I'm not going to get into it on the internet. Let's say I had to go through things. But even then, I was not mature to handle a fucking baby.
mm-mm.
Like you, I'm like you're telling
Couldn't
me that
really
a
hear you.
14-year-old, someone who is not even reached 18. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Oh shoot.
You tell me at 14 you can have you can't even buy a car or you can't even legally work, but you can handle raising a baby. With what
Mm-hmm.
money?
With what money? With what money? Mm-mm. With
Like,
what
are
money?
you
Anyway,
for real?
let's carry on with this video. Let's
If
hear
she was like
this vision
Chinese
that
or if she
God
was
has given
white.
her.
I feel like I saw some Chinese people in this dream. I don't know if I like when I woke up I thought they were Chinese because a couple of months ago I was hearing about like just stuff happening with China and Chinese and communism and all that. And so I don't know if like I just felt like they were Chinese or something, or if they actually were Chinese. So we got there, and once we got there, the short lady, she was like the boss. She was the boss of everything. Oh, before I move on, when I wasn't like in the beginning where I started off at, there was this lady with her. She was a little bit older. She wasn't old, but like she was just like an adult, like she was like a in her 20s, and she was like a leader to us. She was a leader, and she was with us, or like just a teacher or an adult, just somebody. I don't know. She was just significant in the story later on, but I just wanted to point out that she was with us in the beginning. Back to what I was saying. So the
Okay,
short
so
lady that
tell
was like
us.
boss, that was the boss, that was in control of everything, she made everyone put on name tags. Every single person that was there had to have a name tag. And it was like the name tag where like you stick it on your shirt and it says like, oh, hello, my name is, and then you put your name. So
Mm-hmm.
it was like a sticker name tag and everyone had their name tag on. I had a name tag. Everyone had a name tag.
Ah, everyone had a name tag. Then there's a short child, a lady. Then there's communism. Then when I was a Christian, I was never the sort that would tell anybody that God spoke to me, even while I was a Christian. I would never
Because
say,
it's a lie.
God spoke to me about this or God spoke to me. No, I actually thought I used to hear from God. That was something like, maybe God spoke. But I was never, you'd never see me go tell anybody that, because what if it's not true? What if it's not
It's
true?
not.
What if it's a lie?
It is.
How do you come back and tell people, how do you then correct that wrong? It's when people are bold and, come on YouTube and say, oh, or wherever you go and say, God gave me what if it was not God? Have you thought about that possibility? Huh? Was God watching her get
Yes.
pregnant? Hmm?
Peace and respect.
Really. But
Hey,
but that's the
Richard.
thing. It's not. We are really in a world where religion trumps everything, even human rights. Like I'm like
Mm-mm.
where I'm like, is this really what we're doing? I'm like, we're following religion that says to literally stone people to death, and they're calling it the religion of peace.
A
That is
religion of
ridiculous.
peace. It is. It is.
If you wouldn't
Absolutely.
mind, I'd like to comment a little bit. I mean,
Yeah, go
there's
on.
reason I came in.
Okay, come on. Let's hear you, Richard.
Thank you very much. First, let me say I don't want to disrespect anyone here or the idea of the channel.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you're doing good work in exposing lies that are propagated by Christians, and I appreciate that.
Thank you. Thanks.
Which means I'm about to say something you probably won't like.
I know
Course.
the butt is coming, but
Yes,
something.
there's a big butt there. Let me talk
Okay,
about
come
my
on.
big butt.
Yeah, go on.
Okay. So, I keep hearing things like, because she was pregnant at 14, she can't have talked to God because God would have told her not to get pregnant at 14. That's an interesting thought when God says to multiply and fill the land. In other words, have a lot of babies. So why would God tell a 14-year-old girl not to have a baby so long as
Is it okay for a 14-year-old to be having children though?
that's not what I said. What I said was there'd be no reason for a
How's that
physical
not what you
adult
said?
to be told not to have. There wouldn't
A
be any reason for a
physical
physical
adult?
adult. Yeah.
A
Okay,
physical
let me
adult? How are we defining a physical adult?
let me ask you this. If the person who impregnates this girl is
Mhm.
25 and she's 14, would you say the same thing?
Well, I think that's rape.
I'm like, thank you, because anytime a child that can, 14-year-olds cannot consent, that means it is rape.
No.
Okay.
Why did we immediately go to this person as an adult who got her pregnant? I didn't hear that. Did you hear that somewhere?
Well, we
'Cause I
haven't
don't
watched.
see
We
that.
haven't
I'm like,
watched. We haven't watched the
a
video.
child should not be having a baby. That's the point.
We haven't watched
Oh,
the
I
video.
agree with you, but it looks like she's actually in a pretty nice house, and I would assume that they either gave the baby up for adoption,
Oh no.
and or
I'm like,
or aborted it, or her mom is helping her take care of the child. I'm thinking the child isn't necessarily suffering because she was 14.
Right. Well, we don't know the
I mean, I
details.
just
like,
don't
she
know that.
is a child.
We
So
don't
you're
know.
I
telling me
understand
it is
that.
okay.
Let's have a
Are
look
you
at this.
are
One
you
second.
are you going to say that someone who's 20 years old who is above 18 and gets married and gets pregnant in that order is necessarily ready to be a mother?
I'm like, there's a
I'm not
sir, there is
saying
a
that.
big
No.
difference
Henry,
between
it's a card
there's a
and
big
map.
difference between a
Just take our money,
20-year-old
safe.
having
They
a
customize
baby
their
than a
card and start
14-year-old.
learning.
Let's
It
have a
reminds me.
real honest conversation here.
Well, I
There's a
personally feel
difference,
like people
and you
shouldn't
know
be
that.
they should stay young forever, and they shouldn't have kids till they're about 70 because then they'd have some experience. But
Mhm.
it doesn't really work that way. Our bodies age too fast.
So you know what? This is the video of how my parents found out I was pregnant at 14. Teen mom story. Not sure if people want us to watch this video. Just going to have a look at the comments.
I just think it's interesting that I heard it said that people become religious. That describes me at age 42, and they lose all their critical thinking skills. I'm here to point out just how many assumptions you guys are making. Like, you're making
Just
a lot
because
of
you're able to
assumptions
have a baby physically does not mean you are emotionally and financially able to take care of a child.
that's why
That
that's
is
why I
the
said it.
point.
That's why I said a physical adult.
But
Well,
she's not a
Exactly why I
physical
said that.
I
adult.
think
Are we judging her being able to be a physical adult by her being able to reproduce? Because let's also be clear, by that same standard, a 9-year-old who has her period is now considered a physical adult.
No, I
Dean
wouldn't agree with that. Someone who's
made
9
Dean
years
made a
old, they
comment.
couldn't carry a baby to term because their physical body, their hips have not widened. It'd be extremely damaging.
Dean made a
I'm like, and you
comment.
don't think a 14-year-old having a baby is not mentally damaging?
I didn't talk about the mental aspect of it whatsoever
I'm
yet.
like, it does not matter. The mental aspect also plays a role. Do you
It
have any
does.
idea what people go through when they have children? I'm
I
like,
don't
you
know.
could lose your teeth, your hair. People
Can
lose
you
their lives giving birth to babies, and you're
could you
expecting
tell
a
me that?
14-year-old to do that.
Can you ensure me that this person has no support in their life via mother,
It's
aunt,
not about
dad,
that
uncle?
From
because she's not. She is a literal child.
I
A
know, but that doesn't
literal
mean
child.
she is
she
a
won't have
child.
help. How do
She
you know
is
she
a
won't have help?
child. She cannot
From
even work. She should not
Wait a
need
minute.
just
help
from
to raise
hang
her
on,
own baby.
hang on. From the little that I've seen, it looks like when her mom found out, her mom has accepted the fact that she's pregnant, and just from the little that I've seen, if you want us to watch the video of her getting pregnant at 14, I just think this is what I think. This is my opinion. My opinion is anybody can get pregnant. Anybody can. You don't, whatever religion, whatever, but
Physically, yes.
for Christians that teach that you should no sex before marriage, you must wait until you're in the confines of marriage and all these things. It's hypocrisy when you turn around and be pregnant at whatever age outside of marriage, right? A 14-year-old is not, in my opinion, a 14-year-old is not ready to have a baby. It happens, but just like what Dean says, just because you're biologically capable of reproduction does not mean that you're emotionally prepared for the responsibility. I think it's hypocrisy for you to say, I speak to God. I speak to God on a daily basis. God speaks to me. But somehow, God doesn't tell you, don't you think you should wait until your body is physically more developed to have this baby? Why not, wait until the said time? I mean, that's what I think, in my opinion. I just think it's hypocritical for you to say, God is speaking to me. On the one hand, they say, thou must not have sex before marriage. And then you're having sex before marriage.
Well, I think what you were actually objecting to is her mental capacity to handle a child.
Okay.
And possibly
Which plays the part.
I'm not saying it doesn't. I never said it doesn't. It does. I don't agree with 14-year-old kids having babies. I don't.
No.
However, it seemed like what you were really objecting to is the possible financial burden and or mental damage and the increased responsibility of
people
someone.
literally die giving birth.
I didn't mean to interrupt you like
know
that. I'm really sorry that I interrupted you like that. Please go ahead.
Do you know
okay.
that people die giving birth to children? Do you have any idea what goes on in someone's body while being pregnant? Do you have any idea?
Wild Eden, what video are you talking about? I'd like to see your video.
Actually, I have a pretty good.
Esther, you've had a baby.
I have a pretty good idea.
Miss Esther, you've
what
actually
video
had
are
a
you
baby.
talking about? I've got two. I've got two children. I've got two.
Yes. So I'm gonna ask you this. From your experience, would you have been able to deal with everything that was going on in your body?
Well, the answer is no. No, the answer is no. No. At 14, there's no way I was ready to have a baby. No way on earth. No way. No chance. I wasn't ready physically, psychologically, financially, every single thing you could think of. I wasn't ready. No, not at that age.
I'm like, do you think that it could cause trauma to a 14-year-old child? Knowing all the things that go on in someone's body while going through a pregnancy, can it be physically and psychologically damaging?
Of course, it can be.
It can.
But if we're gonna talk about things
so why are we debating that a 14-year-old, whether she should or not have children? This is not a debate.
That's not what I'm debating.
Okay, so what are you? Let me understand what you're saying, Richard. What are you saying? I was just surprised. We were just looking. How did this happen? I came on here. I was looking at this video. I'd seen this little part of this video, and I was going to do a review. But because I decided we'll come here and have a chat, so I started watching the video about this girl who's got a vision from God. God has given her the vision of what's going to happen with the mark 666 and all these things, right? And then look down below. There's a video of her pregnant at 14. I'm like, what's happening here?
First, I have to say I think it's irrelevant.
Okay.
Okay. Let's say I was the worst. Let's say I was the worst human you'd ever met in my life, in your life, right? And you just knew that I'm just a horrible, horrible person. Does that mean everything I say is wrong?
No.
Okay. So
no one ever made that debate.
No, you did imply that by saying she was pregnant at 14, thereby God doesn't talk to her.
Oh no, I didn't imply
I'm
that.
like,
no.
You cannot
I didn't imply that.
We're going
You're right.
by
You didn't imply it. You directly said it. You directly said, why didn't God tell her not to get pregnant?
We corrected the idea that someone who I'm like having a baby outside of marriage while claiming that God is talking to them is a major contradiction. That is what was said.
Why is that a major contradiction?
It is. Because I'm like, because
Uh,
according to this religion, you're not supposed to have a baby outside of marriage.
outside of
So
marriage,
claiming that God is talking to you, but
and
not
she's
also
she's too
correcting, is
young.
not correcting you,
She's
is
too
a major
young.
contradiction.
She's too young. If you're hearing about the Mark 666 and you're not hearing about wait until you're married to so who I don't know. Mm-mm. I don't know.
Okay, so
She's
really what we're saying here is she's not perfectly adherent to her religion. That's what
she's
you're saying,
not.
right?
She is not.
Okay, now that's
And the
true.
I'm
chances
like,
are
if
the
we're going to be going by religion, we're holding you to your religious standards,
religious
and that
beliefs.
means that you should not be having babies outside of marriage.
Now
Okay,
That
you
is a
can
don't know
have
what your
babies.
first I don't know what religion she.
What I think, right? I think that if she can do all these things that her religion says not to, she's doing them. So why
What
should I
religion is
believe
she?
she's Christian?
No. Which sect of Christianity is
Oh,
she?
that I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know that.
So we don't know that.
We don't know.
I'm like,
So we don't
every
know if
sect
She's a
she's
of
more.
child.
Christianity has a common theme that you are not supposed to have sex or even have children outside of marriage. It's
That is not
called
always
out of
true.
wedlock.
That is not
Yes,
always
it
true.
is.
No, it's a
How?
majority
Name
for
one
sure, but it's
sector
not
of
always.
Christianity that says.
Can you
So
even tell me
did
how many
did
sects of Christianity there are registered in the world today? Can you even tell me that?
over
I'm like,
40,000?
no.
And out
I'm
of
like, answer the
40,000, you
question.
think you know
What sect?
every dogma of every
No,
church?
no, we
In
don't.
40,000
I
churches, you
don't.
know that?
I
I
never
don't.
said that, but it
I
goes
don't.
against their religion. It does.
You said it's universal. You
It
said it's
does. I'm
unanimous.
going
You
by
said
their
that never.
religion. I'm going by their own religious book. I am. It literally
Yeah,
says do not
we
have
don't
children out of wedlock.
we wouldn't know what every sect preaches, but they all go by
Right.
the one book, the Bible.
No, but they all read it
So,
differently. Don't you assert that Christians read the Bible differently?
oh, they do. They
Okay,
cherry
then
pick.
how
They
can
may
you say they
interpret it
have to all read
differently,
it the
but that is
same?
one common
I
thing that they
didn't
all
say
have.
that. I didn't say they have to all read it all the same, but
Okay,
they
well
all have one manual. They all have
if
one
they
manual,
don't,
and
They
that's the
never.
don't.
I'm
Bible.
like, he's trying to make the argument because they read it all differently. They don't all have common beliefs amongst each other, which is not true. Okay, I'm
Can
like,
we
because
agree?
I've been
Can
to many different churches. They all
There
have
are
one
some.
thing in common. You are not supposed to have sex or have babies
yes,
outside of marriage.
that's one thing we
That is
can
a
agree
common
about
thing,
the
no matter which
Christian
sector part of
faith.
Christianity you are.
Okay, let me ask you some questions about that. Are there churches that are Christian and accept homosexuality?
I'm like, first of all, we know I'm like that could be the case, but also we also know prior to 1946, homosexuality was not even mentioned in the Bible. So I know where you're going with that, sir, but it's not accurate.
Where am I going with that? I'd love to hear that.
Nice try.
Don't say nice try. Tell me where I was
There is
going.
there is literal evidence that it was rewritten in the original book was talk about pedophilia, not homosexuality. So let's be very clear
I've heard
about that.
that. I've
That
heard
is
that.
Okay, so
that is a totally different conversation
so you
than
think I was going to
comparing
start a
saying that
conversation about
14-year-old
pedophilia?
children should be able to have children. That is
No,
different.
actually, if you don't mind me speaking for myself instead of you telling me what I think, if you don't mind that, what I was actually
I'm like,
talking
I know
about,
where you're going with that. I don't need to because I know
except you
because you're
don't.
Okay,
connecting the
let's
religious part of
make
it. So don't try to gaslight me,
Mikayla,
sir.
Mikayla, just hang on. Let's hear what Richard was trying
All right.
What I
I'm like,
was
to
let the
say.
bullshit come out.
No,
what I was actually
Richard,
trying
carry on, Richard. Sorry.
what I was actually trying to say is it's obvious throughout Christianity on the whole that homosexuality is not accepted, yet there are Christian churches that do accept homosexuality. Also, women preachers.
Yes, that's
Also,
true.
they don't necessarily follow many of the standards of Christianity. So it's difficult for me to say without knowing every sect of Christianity in existence today. I heard the estimate of 22,000, you heard 40,000. It doesn't really matter. It's too many to know. For me to say something like there is no Christian sect that absolutely will not allow a young person sex out of wedlock is a ridiculous statement I cannot make.
No, it's not. Because I've been to many different churches, sir. I
How
grew up in a
many?
Baptist church, but I have also been into a Lutheran church. I've been to Jehovah's Witnesses churches. I've also been to Lutheran churches. I've been to Protestant churches. I've been to many of different churches, and with
Episcopalian?
many different cultural backgrounds. One thing they do have in common is the very fact that they literally have all said that you are not supposed to have a child out of wedlock.
Outside
That
of
is a thing
wedlock.
that they all have in common. They
And don't
share that
forget,
belief.
don't forget the story of Mary and Joseph. You know, Mary
Which is
was
also another
betrothed
thing.
to, she was betrothed to Joseph, right? And then when the pregnancy came, of course, we all know about the drama that, you know, happened because she wasn't married and all these things. So I think we can agree that Christianity does not preach people getting pregnant outside of marriage. I think that's universal.
No,
That
I think
literally
you're
is
right.
universal.
I think you're right that is the vast majority. I
Mhm.
absolutely think you're right. But to make the statement that she is non-adherent to her religion when I don't know what her religion is doesn't make sense.
Christianity, her religion is Christianity.
Christianity. We already
Okay, so
made that distinction.
you run a really good chance of being correct, but you're not necessarily correct.
Her religion
We
is
literally are
Christianity, but we
correct.
don't know what sect of Christianity it is. Her
And I've
religion,
been
we
to
don't
many
know.
different sectors too. And I can tell you that every single one of them has had that same common thinking.
Okay, let's have a
Every
look at
single
this
one of them.
comment. Let's have a look at this comment by Dean. Dean says, "Is it fair to the child? The child who will have the disadvantage of having to grow up while its mother is still growing up." So,
I don't know. It might be
Harmonica,
better.
hmm,
I mean, who do you think's more suited to raise a child? A teenage girl, even up to maybe even 30 years old, or someone who's already raised a batch of kids, say grandma? Who actually would do a better job?
Let's be very clear. It also depends on how old grandma is. Because let me also be clear. My grandma also attempted to raise me but couldn't because she was too old to handle everything that came with having an energetic child. So
mhm.
Right,
You know,
just because someone has raised children does not mean they're able to physically do it now.
right,
okay.
right. But on average, that wouldn't
Let me
necessarily be
just.
true when the child is only
My
14.
grandmother's almost my 14. I'm like, how many grandmothers do you know? Because when I was 14, my grandmother was almost 73, 75.
No, 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 not your grandmother, not her grandmother, her mother, the child's grandmother.
Mother. Okay.
Oh,
Let
okay,
me
that makes
let
sense.
let me quickly do a quick reset. So how we've got here is we were talking about this girl seeing a vision from God. God told her about what's going to happen with the mark of the beast and, you know, all these dramatic things. And turns out she's had a baby at the age of 14. And I said that, you know, how come God tells you about all of these things, but doesn't tell you not to have a baby at that age or to hang on until you're older? But then Richard, you know, because Richard is a Christian. So, right?
Of course he is.
Am I right in saying that, Richard, that you are a Christian? Do you
I'm a
identify?
I'm a Jesus follower. I don't
Okay.
like the term Christian because there's so much baggage.
Do
And
you know why there's baggage?
What's that?
Richard says we can't say that because God might have. What did you say again at the start? I've got a really short memory. My memory is not very good. How did
Well,
we start the conversation, Richard, when you came on and talking about her listening to God and having a baby at the age of 14?
Well, I said, first of all, it's irrelevant if she's made mistakes in the past. She could still have a truth from God. Okay, so she could be pregnant way early. That's irrelevant. Because someone could be a complete liar and still tell a truth at some point. They could.
How do we
All
tell the
right.
difference? How do we tell when they're telling the truth and when they're lying? And how do you? What's the difference? She's come out and said, "Oh, I've had this vision, and the vision includes this and includes that, and God saw me. God appeared to me in a dream, and the mark of the beast, and all these things. You know, how do we? How do you then
Same what
decide what's truth?"
Christians like
I,
to pick and choose. That's what they do, Chuck.
I like to use the scientific method, specifically from forensic science, where you don't have the evidence in front of you. I like to throw in on that coherence theory, correspondence theory, and also Occam's razor. Now, if
Oh,
something
okay.
adheres to all of that, as well as my own personal intuitions, experience, and what's real, that is to say, if someone says something and I find it in existence, right? Or it is at least plausible in existence and has the potential to happen, then I have no reason to think that it's not true, because it is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're saying that while also believing that there is a God, which makes no sense.
What?
That literally doesn't make sense.
No, you're jumping way ahead. I had not even given evidence to the existence of God yet.
You know, but you, from your words, you are a Jesus follower, which means you believe in God. That is not a hard thing to come to terms with. You
Right.
are.
What evidence did I give you for
hold
that?
on. Then you went to plausible. You went to certain scientific
Occam's
theories, which
razor.
actually contradicts the existence of any God, because there is no exact evidence for that to even exist.
What is evidence?
No, there's not.
No,
Evidence.
what is evidence? What does evidence mean to you personally?
I'm like, evidence is something that can be observed, and I'm like, and can be seen. There is we have no evidence to provide that there is, in fact, I'm like, a God or a supernatural entity that loves you, but under certain conditions. Right? That is
Okay.
not a fact.
You just used the word love. Would you please show me some love?
She would give you a hug if she could.
No. I mean, I want a bucket of love, and I want it painted red.
Love is not something that you can see.
So we do believe in immaterial things that we have no physical proof and evidence for.
But we do, because there is literally things that happen in your brain when when in fact you fall in love. There is stuff that can provide that.
Okay,
Certain
so that's
chemicals happen in your brain, so there is in fact evidence for that.
does the love
Emotional
cause
triggers.
those chemical and electrical signals, or do the chemical and electrical signals cause the feeling of love?
Yes, there is evidence for that. There is no evidence to provide that there is a God.
I'm not saying it's not interesting. Please show me the love. Please show me the love itself.
But Richard, you know we can't show you that.
Right. So your standard of evidence does,
but you can see that, because
so your
love
standard
will also
of
make
evidence
you do
does
things
not
for other
always
people
make
that you won't.
sense.
Love
I
will
think
also make you do things for
I
other
think if
people
it is
that you will not do
if it is
for
a
anybody
God,
else.
if we're talking about a God here, the God should provide better evidence that we can see, that we can feel, we can touch, and we can, that everyone would know that this is in fact coming
Absolutely.
from God. If we cannot do those things, then
Right.
why does God then tell people about dreams? She was talking about God was giving her a dream. How do we know it's a God who's giving her this dream?
Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk honestly about that.
There was a question in the chat. Wait, hang on. Let's see. Let's not. Okay, what was that question now? The African humanist was this one. Okay, how can we tell when a liar or storyteller is telling the truth when it comports with reality? How do we know that what this lady has seen, God has appeared to her in the dream, and God told her this, and God said, how do we know?
Well, actually, right now you can't, because she's talking about a future situation. So you can't prove this.
Tell me why we should believe in a fortune tale.
I'm not saying you should. What I'm asking is, what's your standard of evidence? And is
if I can see and touch it, I'm like, that is.
I'm trying to give you a chance to correct it, because that, ma'am.
I can see I can see the African human, and she's a real person. I'm on live stream with her. I can also see that I'm like that if I do not eat a certain amount of food or have a certain amount of water, I could die. Okay, those are things that we can see because
I'm
nourishment
supposing
is needed
that
in order for
if I
organisms
went
to
on
survive.
like this, like you have been, that you'd be angry with me.
Just let's hear him out, Mikayla. Let's hear him out.
All
Let's
right.
hear.
Look, I want to be respectful of your opinions and your
Mhm.
understanding of reality.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, there's no reason for me to accept logical fallacies like all evidence is things I can see and touch. That is not true.
That is literally evidence.
Oh, then you don't believe in math.
Okay,
I
you know what?
literally
Hang on a
I
second.
literally can
Hang
do
on.
math.
Let me do one better. Let me go on, since we're on the internet. Let's type evidence and see what comes up. Let's see the
Just say a
definition
definition.
of evidence. Right. So I will share my screen, so maybe that might help us with our conversations.
Actually, what you're describing there is the scientific method and the evidence that would apply to physical science. Now, that is a way to know certain things. It is not a way to know all things.
Right. Okay. Let's have a look and
Everything
see.
that evidence
So
is something
can you guys
observe.
see the screen? Can you see it? Let's go have a look. I hope you guys can
this
see
is a decent. I could read that if you'd let me. The available body of facts or information indicating whether a belief or proposition is true or valid.
Okay, so available body, a body
So,
of
okay, then
facts.
show us how a God exists.
Please don't cherry pick and logically be fallacious in the definition that you found.
Hang on. The available. No, that was the first thing what come up. Just have a look. That's the first. That's
no,
the
it's
top.
fine. No, let's not throw this away.
Okay.
Let's look at it.
So the available body of facts, indicating or information.
Thank you.
Indicating
show me
whether
some physical
a belief.
information. Show me any kind of physical information.
Let's look at some other definitions. Why not? Let's look at.
They're all going to be basically the same. My point is, you cannot test physically information. There's no such way to do that.
Hang on. Look at the similarity now. Similar to evidence. You need proof. You need confirmation, verification, and corroboration.
Sure.
We need those things. Okay.
So we already talked about physical science,
confirmation,
right?
Verification and corroboration. Right. Got that.
So we already talked about the physical aspect of that.
Let's talk about the proof that a God exists in them.
Hang on.
I'm showing you. I'm actually showing you right now. Okay, so let's talk about the informational instead of the physical for just a moment, because we all understand and see and experience the physical, but we don't always think about informational aspect of what is evidence.
Okay.
For instance, I can say to you, I'm a middle-aged white guy. Now, if you can't see me, you would have to guess something like that, and guessing is not a dependable way to know anything. Right? But if you look at some of my videos, you say, oh, yes, he spoke the truth. That is to say, you can verify it. Right? So that's information verified in reality. Right? Okay. So that doesn't make information non-scientific nor non-existent, yet it is non-physical. Thereby, you cannot see information. You cannot touch information. You'll never find information in a test tube. Okay, so information is valid as evidence, as these definitions of evidence expressly say. Now let's talk about what information she's giving in her video and when it would apply, because you can't expect something to be found informationally true in reality when it hasn't happened yet.
Okay, hasn't happened. Okay.
All right. And let's look at what she's actually saying instead of making standards of evidence that don't exist.
Okay, so she's talking about things that supposedly are coming from a
Well,
God. God has spoken to her.
there's no standard to prove to that God exists because he doesn't.
How do we
That's a myth.
test? How do we test? How
Should I
do
get
we
a little
test?
timeout right there?
How do we test that the information she's giving us is factual? That's the
Right.
question.
You'd have to be able to compare it to something that is real, something that exists in reality.
Okay.
Right? That's reasonable. Now, if it's speaking of a future event, like heaven's arrival, for instance, which she's describing the second half of end times, she's too young to know it. But that's what she's describing.
Did you say she's too young to know it? If she's too young
She's
to
too
know
young
that,
to know.
she's also too young to have a baby, don't you think?
I don't know. I don't know that I think I've already made it clear that I think that's an irrelevant point. It has nothing to do with her. It's a straw man, and it's moving the goalposts, and it's a red herring. It's three different logical fallacies at the same time. Yes, it is. Go look them up.
Okay. Sorry. Let's carry on with the conversation. Don't. I was trying to be a bit cynical.
I mean, it's literally three different logical fallacies in one statement.
No, it's not.
Goodness gracious me.
Show us in real time how a God exists.
Okay, well, I'd love to talk about that. That would be excellent.
Okay.
Show us in real time. I want you to turn on your screen and have God right next to you.
What? Why would I expect that?
I'm like, have him on the screen and have him speak to us. He can speak to everybody else. Why can he do that?
That would just solve the problem, wouldn't it?
Right there.
Okay, can we talk about that?
Yeah, go on.
Is that okay to talk about? I mean, it's your challenge.
Yeah, you tell us. Well, it wasn't me who said that, but carry on. I mean, this is interesting. It's nice to have a conversation.
Have either of you
say that I exist? I'm like, and show us in real time a miracle.
Do you need to say everything three times? Is that like a standard in your life?
No. So sometimes Mikayla is very passionate when it comes to.
I appreciate passionate, but let's try to be cordial to each other.
Okay,
let's
Mikayla,
attempt it.
Let's let him speak. You asked the question, so now he's going to address your question. Okay, Mikayla?
Okay, so I don't know why you would understand that there's the book of Revelation where heaven arrives and God exposes himself, and you would also understand that divine hiddenness exists, that is, you don't see God, and then you would ask me to produce a physical God standing here beside me. I don't know why you would think those are biblical standards, knowing the Bible as you do.
I do know the Bible, and I also know that there are scriptures in the Bible that are not realistic, claiming that people can rise from the dead and
so you're just going to change the topic.
And men can walk on water is not realistic.
So instead of admitting that's an unreasonable request, you're going to change the topic.
Oh, I'm like, it's an unreasonable request because it cannot be done because there's no God that exists. So it can't be done.
That's possible. That's a possible solution. You're right. That could be the truth.
Okay,
but you cannot.
Let's go to this.
Well,
question.
You cannot know that.
Can we move on? Can we move on from this? So Till X asked the question. He said, one second, Till X says, why is this God saying different things at different times about the same thing?
Well said. Well written.
Exactly.
True. Okay, so if I could take a poke at that really quick. Human beings have a tendency to self-confirm and being biased. All religious people claim to have spoken to at times. Okay, I can't say all. A lot of Christians or religious people claim to have spoken to the creator being and gotten word from the creator being. This happens a lot. It's not necessarily true, however. After all, let's not forget that in every religion around the planet is the expression something like, don't forget that you can be lied to in prayer. Now that's in the Bible as well. You can be lied to in prayer is in the Bible. It says, do not believe all things received in prayer, but test all spirits.
You can be lied to in prayer.
Absolutely.
Where's that? Hang on. Hey, I've never seen that before in the Bible.
I remember reading that when I was a Christian. It's in there. That's
I'm just
accurate.
typing it. You can be
Yeah,
lied
just
I
you
forget
could
the
word
exact
search.
scripture, but it's in there.
Oh,
You could
wow.
word search just test all spirits. Those are the key words.
Okay, so testing of spirits.
Yes.
But the
It
Bible also
also
talks about
false
in the Old
prophecy,
Testament. Yeah, I was
prophets.
going to say that. I was going to say the same thing about people who tell you false things. What happens? What should happen to them? Test all spirits.
I believe
So if
it was
God
it Jesus
and or
that talked about false prophets, and I'm looking the old. Was it? I forget what part of the Bible
absolutely,
that's in.
it'd be New Testament first of all, but you could be referring to it several different places.
Okay, hang on. Let me share this screen so people can see it. Let's see, share screen, and you can.
If I could address
See,
Denisha Freeman's comment, give me
go
proof
on.
using scientific method. Forensic
Dear
science
friends,
is a kind of science where you absolutely can show through information that something does it necessarily exist, even if you can't find it. That's a scientific method for proving the existence of something. Okay.
say that
Such
again.
as
Say that again, please. I didn't
well,
quite
like
hear you.
like
Say that
solving
again.
solving cold case murders. You
Mhm.
don't always get to find the murderer, but you get to identify them. Okay. And that's because evidence is left behind, information exists, and you can use this methodology for finding the answer, even if you can't find the person themselves.
Oh, Richard, look at the in the chat. Somebody says, "Oh, wow, Richard is here. He converted a lot of atheists to theism. I'm living proof." Oh, okay. Well,
Thank you very much.
I'm not trying to be converted. I'm good. So that scripture, Mikayla, we can't hear you. Mikayla, Mikayla, we can't hear you. So that verse says.
So my question is: show us that. Can you hear me now?
Yes, can hear you
Then
better
show
now.
us that in real time using that scientific method how a God exists. Show us.
Okay, I'd be happy to. I'll give you something right.
Can I just read that
A
scripture,
God. It
please?
is not with the Christian God. A God.
Mikayla, can I just read that scripture, please? This one on the screen says, "Dear friends,
Yes, ma'am.
Dear friends," this is 1 John chapter 4, verse 1 says, "Dear friends, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirits to see whether they are from God, because many false prophets have gone out into the world." So if many prophets have gone out into the world, and the Bible tells you to test all spirits, how do you know which spirit is from God?
Right on. Because it would tell you something important and true.
Important and true.
Yes. It would be of some substance, and it would be true in reality. It would at bare bones minimum be plausible in the future. At least.
Then in that same instance, prove to us that the God of the Bible was speaking to her, that spoke to her in that dream.
Well, first I haven't
Where's
heard
the
all of the
evidence for
dream.
that?
No,
First of all,
we didn't hear of it, all of it. But then, just reading that scripture, it's obvious that you need to take everything you hear from believers with a pinch of salt.
well, let me just ask you guys some real basic questions. Let's get down to
can't-
some fundamental things here. Would you agree with me that Christians profess that angels and God never lived on this planet?
Angels and God never lived on this planet.
Is that true or not true in Christianity?
I don't know.
Yes, you
I
do.
never heard that when I was a Christian.
I know in the Bible, there's somewhere in the Bible that talks about angels coming down and having relations with.
Does it say they lived here?
And
Does it say
all of
they
that.
lived here at any point?
That's why I said I don't know.
No.
So it never
don't.
claims
I
this was their home. It never once claims.
I cannot tell you for a fact whether yes or no. I don't know.
Okay. Would a Christian say that angels and God are intelligent?
Hey, hello, B. B says to tell my brother I
I have
said
heard
hi.
them claim that.
Sorry, I didn't hear your question. What was the second question? Sorry.
Love you, B.
Sorry.
I said, would a Christian claim that both angels and God never permanently resided here, and also that they're intelligent, and also that they come here?
Would they say that?
Yes, would they say that?
I don't know.
I thought you were a Christian at some point.
I was a Christian, but this is not a question I've ever been asked
I never
before.
heard this when I was a Christian. I never
this is not a
heard
That's because
that.
question.
Even
Christians
growing
don't
up
think
in
about
church.
what the. That's because Christians don't think about what the Bible says. But
Okay,
it does say that angels and God are intelligent, that they don't live here and never lived here any long-term amount of time, and that they intend to arrive here in mass.
when are they arriving here?
And it talks about them having physical things in heaven, like plants and animals.
Oh. So
It
when are
also
they
says
arriving?
you could walk through walls.
When are they arriving
If
here?
you don't mind not changing the topic.
Am I
We're
changing
talking
the
about
topic?
No, not you. The other lady. I can't
Mikayla.
remember.
Mikayla.
I don't see any names printed, so I can't recall. And I'm
Oh,
sorry,
I thought I had the name showing up.
Ms. Mikayla. No disrespect to you. I just think that's a change of topic. I'm trying to get to a point with you guys. I'm not trying to get distracted onto other topics. Okay, so if I said there was an intelligent thing that never lived on this planet but showed up here en masse, you could call that one of two things. You could call that the arrival of heaven if you believed that's what it was, or you could call it an alien invasion if you believed that's what it was. Now, that would be physical. That would be evidential. It would be in your experience if you were alive at the right time. But I'll tell you something that God told me right away, and I don't expect you to believe it.
God told you?
Yes.
Oh,
that God told me that you will see happen, or you will be able to say I'm a liar. I'll tell you that right now. Okay. Now, I'm going to give you the name of a comet. Now, according to the Bible, the comet is going to block our view of three particular stars in the constellation Draco the Dragon. Long enough, a very long time, more than a month, long enough for us to have discussions about it and see it with your normal human eyes, unaided with telescopes. I started looking for that in 2013. Science found it in 2017. Thus, the name of it is Comet C, which means comet, 2017 K2, as in Kilo 2, Pan-STARRS. P-A-N-S-T-A-R-R-S. That's Comet C 2017 K2 Pan-STARRS. Now, if the prophecy is true, then it's going to block our view of those three particular stars for more than a month, long enough for us to notice it and talk about it. You will see it with your own naked eye. And that is something that the Bible prophesies will happen. Now, K2 Pan-STARRS will be piercing our solar system. That is, it will have already had to have done this by late in the year 2023. It'll already have to have done that. Now, unless you guys die of something I can't tell, you seem healthy people in the next couple of years, then you will see what I just said.
Constellations. Okay,
you want me to review the constellation?
So God told you this, right?
Yes.
So we can't know if
you will know
it is
in the
true.
next 2.5 years. You will know.
What are we supposed to look out for?
You should see a bright stellar object coming toward the Earth, even though the Earth is moving through the year. In other words, it's on exactly the right track, lined up with the orbit of the Earth and tracking the orbit of the Earth. It has to come from almost perfectly north. That is, it has to be in the Draco constellation, which used to be called Dagon. It has to block the head and hands of the dragon, which used to be the head and hands of Dagon. And that will fulfill the prophecy.
Okay, so we have to wait and see then.
I'm sorry, you have to wait.
Okay, B says, this is truth. He told me about it 2 years before they found found it. So yeah, I mean, I don't particularly. I am not keen on prophecies. I'm not too keen because people have lied. People have lied. They've said all sorts of
And
things.
will lie.
Well, you'll know. I'm putting a date on it. I'm putting a time frame on it. I told you exactly what it is.
So
It
dates.
has-
Hang on. Let me write it down. Actually, why not? I
Sure.
mean,
Yes, I
write
want a
it down.
date.
It
Anyway,
has to happen.
This
It
video this video will be up for reference. So
Sure. It
Yes,
has
I
to
will.
happen before. It has to happen before this thing pierces our solar system. It has to be on its inward track. It's on track now to do that.
Mm.
It is a record-breaking comet. It is outgassing. It has a bigger coma
What
or
date-
tail
What
than
date is
anything
this?
we've ever seen.
What date in 2023 did you say is happening?
I'd have to look up when it pierces our solar system, but it has to happen before that. Hold on a second.
Date, time,
Hold on. I'm
hour,
looking it up for you.
hour, minute, second.
Okay, so here let me give you the link in private chat. I don't have mods on your channel, of course, and I'm not asking for them, but just because of that, I'm going to put it in the private chat. There's the link
Right.
to the three-dimensional image K2 pan stars. There's a link for it. And according to this,
I can show this.
Be,
can I show
sure,
this?
Sure, it's welcome.
Stream.
It's public
Just one
information,
second, guys. Let me go to it so everyone can see it.
It is right now 5.381 distances to the sun from our planet. And it says, where's the date supposed to be that it pierces our solar system? Let me find that. They use a lot of abbreviations.
But this is something that can be calculated just by doing. These are things that these are things that
they last redid all the math and on August 6th. So this is a very updated chart.
Okay. Do you guys want this information?
This is hosted by NASA at First
so
Gov.
It is C 2017 K2 pans. Okay. This is all just I don't understand all of this.
Well, you asked for physical evidence to something.
I like basic stuff. It's got to be very basic. This is not.
All I can say to that is you are waiting for end times to start. That's all I can say to that.
Oh, the end times are starting soon. Is that what you're saying?
Well, this is supposed to be the first sign of the beginning of end times, according to the text.
Oh, but you do know that people have predicted the end times time and time and
What's
time
that got
and time
to do
again.
with anything?
Okay, so this is going to be the start of the end. This is it.
Well, I'm using the terms end times loosely. It's actually beginning times. The word end times is misleading.
Okay, right. Okay. Okay, so this is signs of the end times. Okay, Richard, now that you're here, tell us what's going to happen. Just basic information. What's going to happen in the end times?
It'll be a pleasure.
What can we expect? What is this? Signs of the end times. The video, we didn't really go into it, but what say you about the end times? So do you believe in this the Antichrist and the what's that one called, the mark and all these things? What has God told you?
If you don't mind, I'd like to answer that how I'd like to answer that. And give you things that are going to matter to you.
Sorry, I'm tired. Sorry.
I want to give you things that are going to matter to you, not all that stuff that Christians debate about. That stuff really doesn't matter so much.
Just basic stuff.
Okay. So the first event is a blocking of those three stars, and then that comet breaks into 6 parts, and it gets very close to the sun. It melts into 6 different parts. 5 parts stay together. 1 part becomes separate. The 5 parts that stay closer together impact the planet Mercury, delivering a high electrical charge, dislodging its gravity, and dislodging it from its orbit. The sixth part that misses the planet Mercury continues on, loops under the solar system, and heads out toward the Earth. As Mercury is dislodged from its orbit, it goes out toward Jupiter. It collides with the moon Europa, which has 5/3 as much water as the Earth. Then those bodies already in chunks, some of the water hydrolyzed into hydrogen and oxygen, which is fuel, and oxygen necessary for burn, collide with the moon Io. Io is 90% yellow sulfur, and it is volcanically active. That means it's hot sulfur with a little bit of conductive iron in it, about 10% iron, according to NASA. Those collisions cause chunks of burning sulfur to be scattered out toward the House of Bread, or Virgo, or Bethlehem, whichever way that you want to say it. But Jupiter's gravitational field is rather large and very powerful, sucking in these fireballs. The outer atmosphere of Jupiter is some 21% methane and 12% ammonia. That is to say, it's really flammable and a nasty concoction. The ignition of the outer atmosphere sends a shock wave into the center of the core of the planet Jupiter, which is 73% metallic hydrogen. This starts a fusion reaction, making it a short-term star. Had this happened in the past, it would have already exploded. This has never happened before. Nobody saw this. However, the story describing this details it chemically and is plausible in physics. So with Jupiter lit, and about the time Jupiter is lit on fire, and chunks of the moon from that explosion that I first described, it throws chunks of the moon, including a chunk of the moon Io, toward the Earth. Meanwhile, the sixth part that missed the planet Mercury is sucked into the Earth's atmosphere. It burns in like a mountain burning with fire. It falls into an ocean and poisons 200 square miles of ocean surface. How much volume? It does not say. I don't know. But that will kill anything in that part of the ocean, and also it'll dissolve the hull of boats and make them sink. So it's some kind of very, very nasty concoction. I don't know what it is. Going on from there, a chunk of the moon Io enters into the Earth's atmosphere, being 90% sulfur and 10% iron. It burns in with a bright blue. This is the second mountain that burns with fire falling in, or the second eye of the one in the book of Revelation, who is like unto the Son of Man and or Christ. His eyes of flames. Those are his two eyes, because his costume, you see, is describing all of end times. So it falls into a closed water system, perhaps a lake or streams or river or something like that, some kind of smaller closed water system, and poisons the area. If you took a mountain-sized chunk of burning sulfur iron and dropped it into a lake, it would both be reacting with the water, making sulfuric acid, also making a very foamy tan-colored ash, which would float on top of the water. So it'd be floating on water, riddled with holes, poisoning the water, making the water bitter, i.e. called wormwood. It's not literally wormwood, nor is it a flower. Going on from there, the Earth, now in a binary solar system, comes to a 66-degree angle to two light sources. This changes our view of the moon. That is, the shadow of the moon is smited. And then it also affects our ability to see stars. That is, a third of the stars fall from the sky. It only means we can't see them, not that they fall from the sky. And a third of the morning is smited. That is because our Earth rotates, and 1/3 more of the Earth would be affected by this angle of two light sources. The Earth comes to 0 degrees or 180 degrees of two light sources in a binary solar system. This makes the song, the old Baptist song, I saw the light, no more darkness, no more night, fill the world with God's holy light, praise the Lord, I saw the light. This is when the earth is filled with the glory of God. This hails the return of God. Then heaven arrives as 29 red. One of them has a green glowing light, but all of them are red. Spherical objects. The Bible gives us a conversion factor, an actual measurement for these objects. They are spherical. They are red. They have some decorations of an eagle, a lion, a cow, and a man's face on them. The ones that have decorations have 6 wings. The smallest part of them is smaller than the moon. The medium-sized objects count 4. I'm sorry, the small ones count 24. The medium-sized objects count 4 that have the decorations on them are a little bit smaller than our moon. The main object, or the mercy seat, or the throne of God, or the white throne judgment, all of that, all those terms, is something that's a little bit bigger than our planet according to the math that's in the Bible. Then, while we're all freaking out and all the military shoot at these 29 huge spacecraft, essentially they are spacecraft, arriving to the planet, finally they stop shooting and the angels open up the doors and come out. That's what you'll see.
Angels are coming out. Oh, nice. Okay,
but that's only to the first half. That's only up to the first half of end times. There's another whole nother half I can describe.
At what point would the rapture happen?
Oh, that depends. It says some people are stubborn and some people are persuadable, and I think that's true. What the actual percentages of there is no word rapture in the Bible, and I don't like the term. The Bible says ascension, but it means physical ascension, like going up into the air, and it says it several times. So then you have angels arriving, and we're being invited to join their established society. If you have reason to trust. Yes,
everyone, including
everyone,
including myself.
Anyone who can accept it will be fine, of course.
Okay.
It's not about your prior beliefs or things you thought were true. It has nothing to do with it.
Okay.
It's not magic.
So, but then you do believe there's this thing that will happen where people will go up. They would be taken
literally go up. Yes.
And then the world as we know it will end. Oh, well, no, you were saying something about a beginning, a start.
I'd say it's our new beginning, but it's the end of this physical planet being habitable.
So that means
at the beginning of the story, it describes making the planet habitable. At the end of the story, they talk about taking all their crap back. Stuff like water.
So you believe in the whole book of Revelation stories?
No, I believe the entirety of the Bible. It's coherent within itself, and it's plausible within reality.
Oh, okay.
All of it.
Oh my goodness.
Now you can't accept a Christian reading frame and read the Bible and it be consistent and plausible in reality. That's not going to happen. But the reading frame I have adopted, it does all that.
Oh, so the one you've adopted, so not the Christian. Oh, that to me sounds better, because I mean, if we're going by what the Christians have, what I've been taught so far, what I've been told, then no, it doesn't quite comport with reality. It doesn't quite work.
Well, let me give you a quick example of just how crazy the stuff the Christians normally say is, as if you don't already believe that. But I would give you a really hard example from the Bible.
All right.
Christians will say that God works with mankind ever since Adam. Christians will say that working negates resting, or else you could work on the Sabbath. That would be no sin. Christians say that God is resting from man, or did rest at some point from man. That's illogical. What the Bible says is there has not yet been a Sabbath for all the time of seed harvest and planting, of winter and summer, in night and day. So long as the earth has these things, there will be no Sabbath. Now, what do they do on Sundays and Saturdays? They go and celebrate something that doesn't exist.
Okay. Yes, that's what they do.
Yes, it doesn't. It literally does not exist. It has not happened.
No, it hasn't.
Okay, so they don't even think about it at all.
What version of Christianity would you call yours then? If someone in the chat said you had managed to convert them, I'm just curious, what version of Christianity? How?
Well, they're not the only one, and you've never heard of this.
Okay, no, I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that they're not the only one. But then,
by the way,
call your
when I
version
show someone
of Christianity?
There is no name for it. There is no organization. There is no money. There is no buildings. There are no fees. Nothing like that. The Bible doesn't talk about any of those things. I don't believe any of those things should be done. But what it's doing is taking a hyperliteral translation and just reading it for what the words actually mean. I teach people to do this all the time. Once they understand it, we part ways. They do their own thing. This reveals to them, this reveals to a person who understands it, which a normal person is able to, you don't have to be brilliant to understand this. It's quite simple, I think, that it actually reveals all of the religions around the planet as saying the same thing.
Okay.
So it's
Well,
not, I can't say
well,
I'm a Christian, because that doesn't really make sense. It's just as valid for me to say I'm a Buddhist. I'm a Wodenist. It's just as valid no matter what I say.
Okay, but then you read the Bible, you believe the Bible,
It's a book that
believe
you
the
know.
contents.
No, ma'am. It's a book that
Okay.
you know. I'm referring to the Bible because of you, not because of me.
Oh, right. So, but then yourself, where do you get all your information from? What book?
All of them.
Oh, so you got like range of books, different books.
Well, there's no invalid ancient religion talking about ancestral perfection and the offer of us becoming some of those ancestors. That story is everywhere, and it goes into great detail.
I'm just trying to understand
I think you're being very hospitable. I appreciate it.
Your religion. Yeah, listen, I'm not here to I'm a fairly new atheist myself, after years of just going and asking the questions, why do I believe what I believe, and
Sure.
just the Christianity that I was introduced to as a young child. When I deconverted, I want nothing to do with it. I want nothing to do with that version of Christianity. And when I became an atheist, I seemed to be more open to listening to other religions and what they believe and what they think. Whereas when I was a Christian, it was Jesus was the only way, and that was it. I wasn't open to, you were not supposed to even entertain other religions. You're not supposed to even allow them to, you're not even supposed to go in a debate with people of other religions. So
well, it's really interesting to me, because the Bible describes Jesus as fighting with the beast of Satan, and then it describes the beast of Satan as having 7 heads and 10 horns, and a little horn that grows up, and all of that description of the beast of Satan. You do realize that's exactly the story of Hercules and the Hydra.
No, I know the Bible is they copy a lot of things from the Bible have been copied from other
Does that make
religions.
it not true?
It doesn't make it not true.
Okay.
Some things might be true, but some things aren't true. Do you believe that Jesus walked on water?
Do you know what the word water there means?
No, I'm actually talking about water,
well,
physical
then
water,
then
not.
Thrown away, then you're inconsistent in your Bible reading, and you did not accept a definition that the Bible gave for what it means by water.
Water is water. That's the definition.
Okay, if I say water, but what I actually mean is urine, and I give you the definition urine for water. Wait, hold on a second.
The context that the Bible. 1 second.
See, suddenly you're not fair. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, you're not being fair.
Hang on. Hold on. Just hold on. I'm going to be very fair now. Let me type in Google, Jesus walked on water. Let's have a look at what the text says.
What is that going to do for you?
I want
you're
read
looking
it.
up the wrong thing.
I want to read it literally. Just look
you're
at
looking
what the Bible.
Up the wrong thing.
What am I supposed to be looking for then?
I will tell you what you should be looking for. You should be looking for the whore that sits on many waters.
Oh, God. Okay, 1 second. Let me share my screen so people can see. I like to, when it comes to the Christianity, the Bible, and the text, I like to look at exactly what it says in its
That's what
context.
I'm recommending. That's exactly what I'm recommending to you.
Not in a different context, but in the context that we were supposed to look at it. So that we know, because you're talking about another kind of water.
Anyway, I think you're just being stubborn now.
Stubborn? This isn't being stubborn. Hold on.
No, you are. I'm not trying to be mean. You just technically are being stubborn.
I'm not.
I told you where to find the definition. There's no definition here.
Wait. So
find me a definition for water here.
Wait. I'm talking about this context, this one here, this context that it is the Bible story. Nothing outside of this. This is what I am talking about here.
Do Christians make sense in reality in their claims about the Bible?
No. Most
Do
of
you
the times,
often
no.
do you often accept explanations that make no sense?
No. Why should I?
Do you believe people who make no sense?
No, I shouldn't. I really
Why
shouldn't.
are you keeping their reading frame that makes no sense according to everything you just said?
So basically, you don't believe this happened.
That is not true. It's not that I don't believe this happened. We need a definition for the word water, and a definition is given in the book of Revelation with the whore that sits on many waters.
Hang on. This context, this is the context in the Bible according to Matthew 14:22.
No, according to your Christian upbringing, which you rejected, but you keep
This is the
their
context
reading.
here. This is it here. This is it
Do
here.
you see that you have rejected Christianity and kept the reading frame? Does that make sense?
I was only asking a question. It was just a question.
Well, let's go look up the definition. I told you where to find it.
I can type in Google the definition of water. 1 second.
You already know what H2O is.
Yeah,
That
it's
is
just
not
water.
the question.
Well, I was talking about, okay, you know what? Hold on. Let me
Did
read
you
the
know
story.
Wait, do you know water
Let me read
in the
this story.
Hebrew? Hold on a second.
me-
Do you know water
read-
in the Hebrew can mean urine? That's why I used an example of urine. Did you know that?
But this story here does not talk about Jesus walking on urine.
How do you know that?
All right, let me read this story. How about that? Just 1 second.
Because it could be semen
Hold
as
on.
well.
Hold on. It could be semen. Oh, okay. Hold on.
It could
hold
be
on,
semen
hold
as
on.
well.
Okay. So let me see. So 25 says, shortly before dawn, Jesus walked out to them, walking on the lake. Jesus was walking on the lake. It didn't
That
say,
is not a proper translation or anything close to it. And I think you know that.
is it not?
No, you cannot put the word lake there.
But they've done that.
I don't care what they did. You know, there's
this is-
copyright law. They have to change the words to make money off of a Bible.
This is
You
the
know that, right?
NIV. How about let's go to the King James version?
Why don't we go to the lexicon and quit messing around? I don't care what version you use. Let's use the lexicon.
So basically, we can translate the Bible to mean just about anything then.
No, listen. If you tell me what you mean by car and I don't accept what you mean by car, I'm dishonest.
I was talking in this
Richard,
context
you are being very
here
passive aggressive.
of Jesus.
I'm not
Jesus
being passive
walking
aggressive.
on
I'm
the
being
lake.
actually aggressive. This is not passive
Of
aggressive.
Jesus, I was talking about the context of Jesus walking on the lake. He came out of the boat
and which is literally
and
in the
walked
book
on the lake.
that we're talking about.
No other
Okay.
context, but this.
There is no other
this
context needed.
particular context.
Well, you guys
I
are
just-
welcome to
a
believe
lake
what
is
you
a
want and
lake.
not hear me. That's fine.
No, Richard, I just asked a simple question. Just wanted to know if you believed this story of
I
Jesus
gave it to you.
walking on the lake. No, you didn't.
The word
Well, I did not
waters
hear
there.
it.
The
Hold-
word
hold on.
waters.
Mikayla, let me hear you.
The word waters there is identified definitionally in the Bible, in the book of Revelation. It says the waters that you have seen.
What book in Revelation? Let's type it. Let's see what you're on
I'm
about.
quoting it to you.
Revelation. Just tell me what the scripture is, so I
I
can.
don't remember numerical sequences.
So Revelation, is it water in
Okay,
Revelation.
sure, but
If you
that's
wanted-
really what you're
If
saying.
you wanted the keywords, you would only have to enter whore that sit. That would be enough.
What's that? Say that. Let's see.
Whore sit would be enough.
H-O-R. H-O-R. H-O-R.
What's that?
Is it H-O-R? Whore.
Oh, how do you spell whore? W-H-O-R-E
Whore.
in English.
Whore. W-H-O-R-E. Yeah? Whore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
in
it.
English, that's how you spell it.
Just WHORE. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And then the
whore.
word sit,
SIT.
SIT.
Horsit.
And that's going to bring up a part in Revelation. It's the only time it appears in the Bible. Horse it.
All right. Let's let me share the screen so everyone can see as well. 1 second. A horsit.
My point is that if you tell me how you're using a word and then I use it differently, I'm dishonest. Here,
Okay.
it tells how the word is being used. If we don't use it, we are dishonest.
Okay, let's have a look and see. Hermeneutics. So, in Revelations chapter 17, verse 1 says, one of the 7 angels who had the 7 bowls came and said to me, "Come, I will show you the punishment of the great prostitute who sits by many waters."
It's not by, it's on. It's actually the word on. That word by is pour.
But I was just reading more. I've come to understand that the many waters refers to men from every nation, tribe, nation, and language who are followers of Jesus. Okay.
True.
So,
Okay, so
is that the context you're
no, it's
giving?
the definition they're giving.
Okay, so how do you define water then?
There is no other definition of water anywhere in the Bible. It's the only one.
So what you're saying is that Jesus,
conclusion?
so in that particular scripture, so Jesus was, what was Jesus doing? How do you describe what Jesus was doing in that particular scripture?
If you want to take it spiritually, you could say he's a leader of men. If you want to take it physically, you could say he's crowd surfing.
Okay.
Now, just what is wrong with that with the rest of the Bible?
We should just throw the Bible away then.
Why? Because it gives a definition for what it means, and Christians don't like the definition. Is that why we should throw it away?
Oh no, because I read the Bible in the context in which they expect us to. Jesus walked on water. How hard is that? But somehow
it's very hard. It's physically impossible. I'm supposed
to now go and find some other text that tells me a different. Okay, the water described here did not mean the actual lake. It meant a completely different thing. It meant the prostitute, and listen.
Why did you just call yourself a prostitute?
Oh no, I didn't call myself that.
No, you definitely. I heard you use the word prostitute, and you were speaking of your own opinions. Why did you call yourself a prostitute?
I didn't call myself.
She did not call herself a prostitute.
You should respect yourself more than calling yourself a prostitute.
I did not call myself a prostitute.
She did not say
what's wrong with what I'm doing there? What's wrong with what I'm doing there?
I didn't call myself a prostitute, but I didn't call myself a prostitute.
I'm like, you're trying to be very malicious. You're trying to silence her.
You're missing the point.
You're trying to take things out of context and saying
that's the point.
She never referred to
herself
herself
as a chosen to take things out of context because the way you were taught instead of the definition given. This is dishonest.
Definition.
This is technically absolutely dishonest.
What is dishonest? What is? Which one? What part?
When you know there's a definition and you won't use it, that's dishonest.
A definition of water. But it literally says that Jesus walked on a lake.
Find me another definition in the Bible for the word water. Go ahead.
Then why can't that be taught in churches then, if that's the real definition?
You know what?
This is why I don't agree with Christianity. This is why I'm against Christianity. They teach crap.
Let's go and have a look. Let's go and have a look at some of the comments here.
How about we get to the idea of human beings be able to be resurrected from the dead? That's not seen in physical time either, but we see it in the Bible.
I am happy for you guys that you left. Can I give you a compliment real quick, please?
Jesus walked on urine.
I am happy for you guys that you saw that what the Christians describe about the Bible doesn't make any sense. I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
I'm proud of you for being an independent thinker who
Thank
left
you.
things that are illogical. Good for you.
Thank you, Richard.
Now let's talk
Thanks.
about something that actually makes sense.
So if I want to understand where you're coming from, Richard, is there a book? Is there something we could read, or we just attend your, because I've been to some of your live
appreciate
streams where you're breaking down the Bible and what you think, and well, sometimes, to be honest, Richard, some of it just goes over my head because I'm thinking I'm trying to understand them, and okay, what do those things mean?
Do you think,
So,
I mean, certainly you don't think that my brain and yours are precisely the same.
I don't think so. No, probably
Okay, so
different shape, a different.
Sure. You have different personality traits. You've had different experiences. If you don't ask me questions, I can't address your brain.
Okay. True.
Is that fair?
Yeah, absolutely fair.
Okay.
Okay, I think we've worked out that in the Bible, water, the context is not literal water. It is many people, isn't it, Richard? Is that what you're saying?
It is not always many people. Context matters too. For instance, dipping water out of a well to drink and feed animals means literal H2O. However, hold on, if you don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus is not gargling when he speaks with the voice of many waters. He's speaking for the people. He's not gargling something that would make no sense, and it's not even spiritual. Okay. But Christians will ignore certain parts of it to maintain their reading frame, which people you rejected as being relevant. So please reject their reading frame.
Right. The reading frame of Christians. Yes.
There, Wild even quoted it. There it is. And you just read it a few minutes ago.
Reject the reading frame of Christians. Now that sounds like that sounds good to me. Yes.
That sounds
well. They say horrible things. Absolutely. I am happy for you guys that you rejected things. Good for you. I really am.
Thank you.
But just because I say I'm a theist doesn't mean I accept those things.
Okay, but you believe in the what's it called now? The Abrahamic God. The God
I
of
don't know
Abraham.
why you would.
Well, Abrahamic religions are multiple religions, so you got to be real specific. Yeah. I think you mean the Christian God. Mr.
Oh,
okay.
No. You know what? I don't even know what I'm trying to say, because if Richard does not believe in the Bible, then chances are he doesn't believe in the Abrahamic God. Am I right?
That is true.
I believe that the Bible is 100% accurate and that people read it and teach it poorly.
Oh, okay. I see.
And their reading of it is inconsistent within the work itself. You want to talk about gaslighting?
So I'm like, so let's get into a lot of what the harmful things in the Bible. They say that.
Christians say horrible things. I agree with you.
So the parts of the Bible where it says it's on pregnant women who get pregnant before marriage.
What?
Okay. Or I'm like we mentioned before, homosexuality wasn't even mentioned in the Bible pre-1946, but in their mind it was already there. So I'm using their mind frame. Literally says that being gay is an abomination. And this should be punishable by death. And it's
actually, that's a Christian standard. You're quoting it correctly. However, what the Bible defines, two other words, sword and stone.
Oh,
now, you're never going to find someone punished with something other than a sword or a stone. And it gives definitions for what it means.
That is wrong.
You're not letting me finish.
Okay.
It defines what it means, like waters means group of people. It defines the word sword and stone. The word sword means spoken testimony. The word stone there means written testimony.
Okay. But I think
but let's be honest. I'm like, the harmful things that are being done to the LGBT community worldwide because of Abrahamic religions, is that not bad?
I'm sure Richard would
agree. I have people whom I love who are very, very close to me, who are not mainstream in their ideas, in their sexuality, in their physical expression. I have no problem with that whatsoever. And I don't think the Bible is suggesting that you should have a problem with that. But instead, it's like the first time that your mom talked to you about kissing somebody, and she used an example of how she kisses you goodnight. And then she expounded on that example and changed it so you could understand what a kiss is. Now, your mom doesn't kiss you in like a sexual way, but she used a very non-sexual thing to describe something sexual. The Bible is doing much the same thing. It's using our actual experience in real life to describe things we don't yet understand. Now, does it say that sexuality is wrong altogether? Well, no. Does it say that certain kinds of sexuality are not average? Yes, it does. That's literally what it says. It's not average. Then it uses the not average thing to make examples of things spiritual, not average. That's all it's doing. It's not condemning homosexuals.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, so
I
why
can.
in countries that are religious, it is legal to stone, to imprison people who are homosexual?
And what's that got to do with the Bible?
I'm like, they're using religious framework to do so, sir.
Okay. Are they doing it because they're prejudiced and hateful?
I'm like, well, I believe that to be true, but they say it's because because of the religious belief.
So you're saying that people wouldn't do that if it weren't for the Bible?
No, I never said that. I'm saying what they are saying.
So they're justifying their prejudice using the Bible. Is that right?
Yes, and that's exactly what they're doing.
Why does that matter?
You have to say to that.
Why does that matter? People always justify what they do.
No. This matters because it's a framework that is harmful. It matters.
So, question for you, Richard. I'm sorry to interrupt there, but before, just because this question was brought up about Mary, did you, in the context that you read the Bible in, do you believe in Mary and Jesus and Joseph and all that story?
Well, Mary's a description of a young woman who believes in God, and Jesus is a description of a job. It's not a person. It's a job description. It's a rather long job description.
Jesus is a job?
Yes.
I like that. I like that version. I like that version. Absolutely. I do.
If you go and look into the Hebrew words that are like, Greek words that are things like Jesus, Christ, Nazarene, Galilee, what that means is chosen by God to act like a valve at the sheep gate, separating the goats and the sheep. That's what that means. That's a job.
Oh, Jesus was a job.
Yes.
Listen, I'll have that. I'll rather have that. I'll have that than to believe that a God.
But that doesn't really answer your original question.
Will give up his own child.
So you asked me about
to
Mary.
be killed and slaughtered in that manner. I'd rather believe that Jesus was a job.
Well, it's not only a job; it's a voluntary job.
So what say you about the resurrection then? Resurrection, death, and was it the death of a job? Resurrection of a job?
Let me give you my reading frame on First Mary. Now Jesus has a half brother in the story and two other full brothers. And there's no point in saying half brother unless it meant had a different mom or a different dad, right? That's what half brother means. Okay. So either Joseph kept Mary when she cheated on him, or she was pregnant before they met and had a child. That's an interesting idea, right? And accepted her anyway.
Okay.
Or Joseph was married before and brought a child into the wedding, right? Those are the options, as far as I know. But then throughout the Bible, you've got grandpa switching his position of his hands left and right and giving the greater blessing to the lesser child. That's repeated. In fact, it's every single time. Every single time there's a blessing on more than one child, the greater blessing is given to the lesser child, saying that the lesser child is greater. This is consistent throughout all of the Bible. And it doesn't work in history. People didn't do that. So it's actually talking about a younger one being the greater one. And it says it many times.
Okay, so bottom line, Jesus did not die and resurrect.
Well, the miracle of resurrection is that those who do it have greater science than we could ever hope to accomplish. That's the point.
Jesus did not die and resurrect.
I don't know why you would say that.
No, I'm asking you.
Okay.
You didn't answer my question.
I thought I did.
No, I did. Okay. I didn't understand what that meant.
Okay. I think the resurrection is talking about them having such great technology, they can literally restore a person who was dead 3.5 days. And that's why it's interesting and persuasive.
Yes or no?
Well, yes, I believe that's what it's describing. Yes, I believe that can happen.
So it was a real person who was resurrected then. Is that what you believe or think?
Yeah. Well, yes.
Okay. That's interesting.
You know how close we are to that right now? We're really close to that in science right now.
No, it wasn't talking about us now. It's talking about thousands of years ago.
No, it's not talking about thousands of years ago. That's a Christian assumption.
Oh, so it's a futuristic thing?
It's only talking about the future, in fact.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Like, for instance, if I said to you there was one who told the absolute truth about God, who pissed off local government, that they persecuted this one and anyone who was following them, and then that one was killed, was dead 3.5 days, was raised from the dead, spent 40 more days telling the truth about God, and then ascended into heaven. Who am I describing?
Jesus.
Is there anyone else besides Jesus who ever does that anywhere in the Bible?
No, not that I know of. No.
I took all of that description from the book of Revelation, the description of the two witnesses.
Okay.
That is, Jesus happens in end times, not 2,000 years ago when it wouldn't matter.
Ah, I see what you're trying to say. So you're saying that Jesus is yet to happen.
Right. Christians have assumed that it happened right before they got the book, but the book is prophetic. It simply has not happened.
Jesus is yet to come. Oh, Christians.
That's why there would be no evidence.
You Christians, there'll be no evidence for it. Oh my goodness.
There's no evidence for things that haven't happened. Why would you expect evidence for things that haven't happened?
Oh, so I didn't know. No, Richard, I didn't know what your understanding was. But now we're getting to understand it a bit better. And I think I think it's a better understanding. I think I can go to sleep at night knowing that it's a futuristic thing. It hasn't happened.
Menu frog before I go.
Yeah, I was hoping that you would, and also it's nearly midnight here, so
it's what?
It's nearly midnight here.
Oh wow, where are you?
Yeah, I'm in the UK.
Oh, interesting. I've never been there.
Yes.
Except for a short layover on a flight one time, but that doesn't count for anything.
Okay.
The word slave in the Bible is also the word servant. That's interchangeable. So sometimes when you read servant, it means slave. You could take it as being slave every time. That's fine. Okay. That word slave there, if you look up the definition of it, is indentured servitude, like a slave. Also, anyone voluntarily slave. Also, any God worshiper is called a slave. For instance, Jesus says, and the apostles say, I am a slave to Jesus. I am a slave to the Father. They say it all the time. There's nothing wrong with that. But how do you figure out which way do they mean it? That's the better question. In all the slavery laws in the Bible, there's the word sovereign or the word father or both. The word sovereign or master can only refer to one being that the Bible claims is sovereign. We already know the answer to who's sovereign in the Bible. And then there's the Father. And the Bible says, call none the Father but God. And then it says, Father. So it's a discussion between Christ and the Father, which of the heavens the slave will go to. That's the whole discussion. Which is why sometimes slaves get to change their mind and leave their master and go to the Father.
Okay, so Menu Frog, I hope you got the answer to your question.
And what is that icon? That's the craziest looking thing. I can't even make out what it
Which
is.
one? Which one?
Menu Frog's icon? It's like a little made up beast or maybe a real beast. I don't know what that is.
Looks like a hippo. Looks like a hippo to me. Let's see.
No.
Menu Frog might have answered in there. Cool story. Oh, listen. So if we want to know more about what your views are on the Bible, should we just come over to your channel? Yes.
I'm not advertising my channel. I wasn't even going to mention it, but
No. There's people listening, and some people might be they might be curious. They want to know more. So
let me just say, I'll tell you why the Christians are reading a Bible that doesn't make sense.
Oh, goodness. I love to hear that Christians are reading a Bible that doesn't make sense. That sounds like music to my ears.
I can actually give you a lot of weapons. I can give you a lot of weapons. Many of them I have to other people.
I like that.
I would give you plenty of weapons to get them out of Christianity, all that you can stand. The word, for instance, the word face. When you read the word face in the English translations, the way that the Jews looked at the word face, that meant the part that turns or the part that leads you somewhere. That's what face means. It doesn't mean the thing on the front of your head. It doesn't mean.
Oh, doesn't mean the literal face.
No, it doesn't. It means the part that turns you.
Okay.
Right? So whenever in the Bible you read something like, and God saw the face of man, that should read, and God turned man around.
Right.
Now, those are two very different ideas. But because they don't look up what the word face means and they just assume it means, your literal front of your head, when you read it in English, it's weird and it makes no sense. But if you went back to the Hebrew and to the Greek, to the Aramaic, the original words, it does make sense.
Right.
So, you know how the Jews think they got something over on the Christians? This is what they think they got over on the Christians because they speak that language.
Oh, okay. Did you see the rabbi the other day that says special punishment waiting for Christians for believing in Jesus?
What's that?
Did you see?
A desert burrowing frog. Wow.
Oh, is that what it is? A desert burrowing frog. It looked like a hippo.
It's crazy looking. You just said, ma'am? I'm sorry, I missed what you'd said.
Oh no, I was talking about the rabbi that said Christians are, when they die, Christians and Muslims, they're all going to be punished for following false prophets.
I would agree with him.
The Muslims for following Muhammad. Is it Muhammad or Muhammad? Yes, Muslims for following Muhammad, and Christians for following Jesus. He even said, every time they call Jesus and pray to Jesus, a punishment is registered in their file. When they die, they're going to be punished, Christians and Muslims. Let me tell you.
I'd like to agree with him, actually, except for one small problem. He just assumed that God doesn't know man is flawed and that God doesn't know man needs corrected. He just assumed that. And he just called God stupid, so I'm not sure that was a good idea.
Okay, he didn't say, well, he didn't say God was stupid.
Yes, he did.
Oh, okay.
If you think God, how could a God not understand his creation, first of all? So he just assumed that God doesn't.
And that right there, sorry to interrupt you, Richard, and that exactly is the problem I have with Christianity.
Amen.
Right there, right there.
Good
When
for you.
when you talk about a savior, no, not savior, a creator. So if we say that a creator exists, he created humans, right? When he created them with these flaws.
And then he blames them for their flaws.
He blames them for their flaws and
Perfect.
banishes them from the garden of
Perfect.
Eden.
Good for you.
And says, because of your these two people's flaws, all of humanity are doomed, because these two, whereas he created them. And what's even to me, what finally does it is the creature, the character, the person, not person, but the character that made his creations for. He created that one too.
Right.
So for me, the whole story of the fall of Adam and Eve eating the apple and the snake come and deceive the woman, I think if we're to hold anybody responsible, we should hold the creator responsible, not Adam and Eve. You agree?
I would agree with you. No, I agree with you that is a severe problem in the Christian reading frame. It's
Amen.
not a problem. It's not a problem in what the Bible actually reads, though.
But that's where the information is. It's in the Bible.
Let me just give you a real quick. No, it's not. It's in people's minds. They are not reading it. Would you happen to know? And I'm not trying to test you. I'll just tell you.
Okay.
The name Adam means red in the face, like the clay of the earth. That's what Adam means. Okay, and you've probably heard that sometime, right?
Yes, at some yeah, just once. I've heard it once, but just didn't understand what it was all about, what they were trying to say.
Let me help you understand what it's trying to say.
Okay.
Can you tell me of any animal on this planet whose face changes color to red?
No.
How about humans?
Humans that faces turn to red.
Sure. We're the only animal that blushes. Now, why do we blush?
You're talking about blushing. Okay.
Why do we blush? What's that?
And we're happy, excited.
Okay. You could probably come up with a list of things.
Yes,
scared, embarrassed.
Things. Yes.
Now, what do all those things have in common?
Feelings.
That's right. They're feelings. It got named emotional.
Emotions. Okay.
Now, I have to ask you, why would a creator being, if it had emotions, notice that something was different and name it emotional? You see, that wouldn't make any sense.
No, my head was, I was thinking, what on earth are you talking about?
Like, you'd be surprised to meet a human being with no emotions. You would be shocked.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so your normal is people have emotions.
Yes.
This thing's normal was people don't have emotions. That was this thing's normal. Or else it wouldn't have named it Adam. You see, part of the definition of Elohim is evil and jealous, powerful beings. What it's actually saying is that evil, jealous, powerful creatures manipulated existent genetic material and made Adam. That's what the Bible actually reads.
Okay.
But I've hogged up plenty of time. I have hogged up a whole show, and you're probably tired by now. But I think you've been extremely kind to me.
Listen, the whole idea of this live stream was to chat. We don't all have the answers. I don't have the answers. I'm ready to learn. I'm ready to learn new things. That's how I became an atheist, by asking questions and by, looking at the text and, just finding things out. So if we don't have these conversations, how do we have the knowledge to to know what's factual and what's right and what's wrong and what's how do we learn the world? Some of the things you've said today, Richard, this is my first time hearing these things. Never heard these things before about Jesus walking on water. Wasn't actual water. It was talking about people. I've never heard that before. You even said urine and semen. I was thinking, what are we doing here? Jesus walked on urine and walked on semen.
You could read it that way. I mean, the Christians could read it that way.
Hang on. You said we can read that scripture that way?
No, if you want to take the word water as meaning a liquid, you could read it urine or semen or water. It's all the same word.
That sounds good to me. So Jesus walked on semen, and Jesus
they might as well say that. It makes good sense.
On urine. Okay, sounds good.
It makes good sense in a Christian reading frame. If you don't take the definition that's given in the Bible for waters, you could read it urine, well, whatever.
Okay, so but on a more serious note, there might be people who are interested in hearing what because you do these things, and I would love if people are interested, they can go and come over there and listen to some of these things. At some point, there are nuances in all these religions, and just the fact that the Bible can be translated to mean all sorts of things. In my opinion, you shouldn't take such a text seriously, because you could be reading the Bible and it completely means a whole different thing. This is my first time hearing about water being. Honestly, I've never heard that before, and I would rather listen to your version than listen to, because But Richard, Jesus didn't walk on a lake.
No, of course not. That's goofy.
See, he didn't walk on a lake, so that's not.
That'd be some kind of magic trick, wouldn't it?
That is magic, and that's all I'm trying to say. It didn't happen, But yeah, your version sounds interesting.
I'd like to comment on one of Teal's comments there, writing, "There is no evidence of the Christian God." That's a really interesting statement. Okay, actually, if you wanted to be consistent, you'd have to say there is no evidence of any God at all. And then
Amen.
You can't prove that. But more than that, there's only one God for humankind. See, the word Allah is the word God, is the word Brahma, is the word Woden, is the word, etc. All of these terms. When the Christians are proud of themselves and say, "Oh, my God's the only God," they're forgetting that their God claimed the whole earth and is not prejudiced and is not tribal and is not hateful of certain people groups, but told everyone the truth about self in the time that was appropriate. It's taking advantage of Christian pride to say there's no evidence of the Christian God. Or if you don't believe in the Christian God, you're not a real believer. You've got a false God. This is taking advantage of their pride, and a common mistake that Christopher Hitchens made.
Oh, I love Christopher Hitchens. Oh, I've got some of his books. Oh, I love that man.
Anyway, peace and respect. I'm going to call it a night. Thank you very much for your being very cordial and patient.
You talked about Christopher Hitchens making some mistakes. I'm keen to find out some of those things. We could arrange a live stream. Yeah. Well,
let me just do it for you real quick, and I can sum it up in less than 2 minutes.
Oh, okay.
And then I'm gonna go. But
all right, go on.
Okay, if I say to you, I don't believe you because you tell bad jokes, does that make any sense?
No, it doesn't.
See, the emotional appeal doesn't show you logically inconsistent.
Mm-hmm.
Christopher Hitchens made 100% emotional appeals based on the acts of people who justified their acts by the Bible, where the Bible says the opposite thing of what they did. So it's an emotional appeal. It's a logical fallacy. It has nothing to do with the Bible at all. And it doesn't disprove Christianity. It only says bad people do bad things, which we all know.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
There it is.
Okay. Sounds good. Although all of that sounded very
but people love drama, so they love Christopher Hitchens.
Of course.
Anyway,
Drama.
thank you very much for letting me on your show for a time. I appreciate
Thank you.
that
Hang
dropped
on.
by sometimes in my show.
Before you go, your is that Demolish Doctrines? That's the name of your channel. I wish I had how do we do this now? The link. Can you put the link to your channel in the private chat?
You know what? I'm going to pick on you a little bit. There's a whole bunch of technology you could use and take advantage of that's at your fingertips and you don't know how to use it.
Oh, goodness. What are those?
You know, like right now, your name could be at the bottom of your picture right here if you just selected that. And you said earlier today that you didn't.
I've done it. It's just not coming up. I'm not sure why.
Right. Yeah, that's what I mean. You don't know how to use it.
It's been done. I mean, I've done it. What are you talking about? I've done it, man.
But you can't make it happen right now, can you?
Yeah, look, I've just checked on it. Show display names. It's been clicked.
There you go.
Done.
Well, it's not working.
It's not working. For some reason, it's not working.
Yeah, no, when you bring up someone else's comment from the side chat, it turns them off.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
Yes,
that must be it. Okay. Let's see if that. Yeah, okay. All right. It was done. Okay, so that's your channel on your name. Okay.
Yes, it is. Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, okay. I want to offer you, if you'd like to take some time, because you said I don't know how to bring someone into a stream unless I do a different stream. And you said some other things.
On OBS, not on
StreamYard, right?
Not on StreamYard, on OBS.
Right. Okay. So do you know who MathPig is?
Oh, I know MathPig. Yes, absolutely.
He is a sweetheart. He would be happy to teach you that.
Okay.
And he loves helping people. He's a big helperton.
Bless him. I really like. Do you know my very first live stream? It was MathPig and what's his name? Critical Cripple.
Mm-hmm.
I had help from Critical Cripple and MathPig. So
they're both
where I'm at today compared to when I started, I had absolutely no clue whatsoever that I'm using OBS. Listen, where I'm at,
you go, girl.
Ideally, I should. I compared to 6 months ago. Oh my goodness, I was hopeless. But yeah,
good for you.
I'll contact him. Thank you. Thanks.
See, I appreciate that. You're not too old to learn, are you? I don't even believe there is such a thing as too old to learn.
Well, I'm over 40 years old, and I'm here. I've got a YouTube channel, and I'm an African atheist, and yeah, my voice is I'm speaking my truth. So yes, thank you very much.
Never stop.
And I appreciate you coming. We might not believe the same things. We might not share the same beliefs, but we can have conversations. We can have conversations.
I actually had a great time talking with you guys. I really did.
And to be fair to Richard, a lot of people speak highly of you. Even though you're a theist, you call yourself you're a theist. You don't say you're a Christian, but then you're a theist. You believe in, something. And, if people want to know more about that, what you believe and how you, translate the Bible, especially your translation of the Bible, please sign up to his channel and go listen to him. I do come around and I listen to some of the things you do say, to be fair. So
very nice. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you. And everyone, Richard is a magician. Till X says you're a magician.
I'm not sure what that means.
I'm not sure either. Ah, Richard the Riddler. This is interesting. Riddles. Thank you, everyone. And to be honest, at this point, before I close the live stream, I really want to thank all of you. It wasn't easy, being over 40 years old, having no clue how to do live streams and how to do video editing. I had no clue. But then I had to get my voice out, and I didn't think at some point that I will have followers and I will have people subscribing. But for each and every one of you who is subscribed, who comes around to have these conversations, I appreciate each and every one of you. You've given me hope. You have given me hope. I remember when I started my YouTube channel, my son laughed at me. My son said, "Mom, you've only got 2 followers." No, he said, "You've only got 2 subscribers." So can you imagine me? I go to my son and I say, "You never guess. Your mom is going places." I am going places. So I want to thank all of you for the conversations, for the when you thumbs up the video, when you like the screen, the streams, when you come and join me. I really appreciate it. You've given me hope. And yeah, for the Christians who come around, listen to people like Richard. Richard he's a theist, but he's saying that Christians have taken the Bible and are not reading it properly. They're not reading it in the context. For me, I'm not keen on the Bible. I'm not interested. I'm an atheist. I've deconverted from all of that. But then for some people, it might be a step down for them. They might just want to have a better understanding of the book that they believe. So if that's your thing, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to his channel. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate your time. And Richard, thank you once again.
Peace and respect.
I'll be back tomorrow, guys. I will be back tomorrow with something completely different. I have something I'm working. Well, I have said I'm working on this, but just something. I like to have a little bit of humor, just something to laugh at. There are some Christians that I have seen on the web. Some of you might know them already. Shani for Christ, and what's that one? Her husband's name, Rev. It might not be some people's cup of tea, but I'm fascinated by these two because these are Christians, Bible bashing people. They talk about Christians, atheists going to hell, and they can't wait for atheists to be in hell, and they burn, and they want to watch atheists burn. And I'm thinking to myself, is this what Christianity is about? Is this so you're a Christian and you cannot wait for atheists to burn in hell, but this is your version of Christianity? I'm fascinated by, when I was growing up, my version of Christianity is nothing compared to these two. So these two fascinate me. So why not? Let's come and have a look at some Christians making a fool of themselves, absolutely, why not? So guys, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your night, evening, morning, noon, wherever you are. I appreciate you all. Dunver, what happened to you? I was hoping to have a conversation with you, but don't worry. Another time we will have those conversations. Mikayla, thank you. Thanks for your time as always, Mikayla. And I love you all. And yeah, see you and bye-bye.